Happy Monday, March 6th. Man, I hope this is how the markets are going to go for a while, but we are at a key level. It feels good right now. It feels steady, feels less volatile. Hold on. Let me just fix the background here. So let's look at SPY QQQ, and you'll see that we did make it up to this key level of the 20 DMA, and right now we're slightly above it, right? We talked about this last week that we were targeting the 20 DMA. So it got there, bounced off the 200, got right to the 20 DMA on the SPY, and the same thing with the QQQ. It's actually above there now. That's a key level. That's very easy to see on the chart. We're above this key level right now, but I'll remind you, when you're looking at daily moving averages, the important thing is the close. Now, I don't know that there's any thing that can derail that today. We have Powell speaking the next 2 days in front of the Senate and Congress. Maybe that can derail it, but honestly, it looks good right now with this sharp move from the 200 up to the 20 DMA, and the RSI looks like it's not overbought. So this is a good sign, and it's reflecting in individual stocks. We're seeing momentum. By the way, TLT up, UP down. That's good for risk assets, where you see RK and Bitcoin up. So right now it's steady, which is what I like to see. Steady towards good. All right, now we move on to our individual stocks, and man, what a winner LAZR has been. Last week I had chosen LAZR, Luminar Technologies, and LLAP. Those are my two picks for the trade of the week ideas and the Wolf Spaces competition. I participate every Monday evening at 5 p.m. on Wolf Spaces, and it looks like I have a chance of being the winner because of LAZR. LLAP's been down, but man, last week we had talked when this thing was like still below the 200 DMA. We were already talking about a target of 1130 when this thing was under 750. Right, using the four-pillar process, anticipating a technical breakout based on other factors such as sentiment, catalysts, and fundamentals. And this worked out brilliantly, right? The same thing happened with Tableau. LLAP didn't break out yet. And you know what we're trying to do here, since we use all four pillars, we're really trying to identify inflection points in stocks, which can then go on for a multi-period run. Now, the market has been volatile, has been preventing stocks on going on multi-period runs, but this is starting to look good. I hope if the market's steady, because what we're trying to do is catch the next air, right? Catch the next stock that can go up multi-baggers, it can go up consistently for months or quarters after significant news, right? That was the magic formula that made air work, and we're looking to repeat that over and over and over again. So we had that with this multi-billion-dollar Mercedes deal here, anticipating a 200 DMA break. And I mentioned then that I think people are going to look back a few months from now or later this year and saying, why was I such an idiot not adding LAZR at the bottom to my IRA and just holding this thing? Because that event was obviously an inflection point for this company, LAZR. And we put a few targets on the way to 1130. Actually, it's 1140. So 1060 and then 1140 were the final two targets that we had called. And don't forget, there's 30% short on this thing, and that's fuel to make it go up to these levels. So it was 1060 was right here, a little bit of congestion down here in May 2022 is that current resistance level we're at. And then 1140, which is the peak here, August 22, and also support here, March 22. That's the next level at 1140. Now, if you missed this over the weekend or whatever it is, I think support here is going to be the high of the day on Friday. Meaning, not that it even gets there, but I don't think it goes lower than 1035. That was the high of the week. So 1035, if you're lucky enough to see a pullback to 1035, I think this thing is on its way back to a retest of 1060 and then 1130, 1140 during the day. And honestly, you never know how high this goes to 30% short, but the RSI is starting to get stretched at 75.80. So I think as a trade, this is as far as I'm willing to predict for right now, 1140, but I do hold this in my IRA. Been holding it since 750. All right, next one, the second pick I'd call for trade of the week idea was LLAP. That one's still not working. We've done a lot of research on this, though, and I started adding more at the end of last week. There are some risks here. We identified regulatory risks, maybe legal risks, regarding this $2.4 billion contract with Rivada Space Networks. The price contract yet, and I think that's because of some concern about this company Rivada. Are they going to come up with the billions of dollars or not? So we've done a lot of research on this. I think the odds are looking good, but there is an event happening third week of March that we have to keep our eye on in terms of some regulatory extension they have to get from some UN governing body to move forward with the project. But really, here you have your support at 225. It was a low over here. 230 to 225 would be your support level here at the 20 DMA and last week's low. And I'm ultimately looking for a breakout above the 200 DMA, which is now around 315, not 325. So I can continue to have good conviction in this, recognizing the risk of some regulatory issues that hopefully will be cleared up third week of March. And that's also when we have earnings from LLAP, and hopefully we can hear more. Now, YEXT has earnings tonight. This has been going on a sentiment, what do you call it? Lost for words. Sympathy play. It's been on a sympathy move with AI last week, this AI play, YEXT, and they have earnings today after the close. It's starting to get stretched here. RSI 76. I'm planning to be out today before earnings. Target wise, man, I hit all our targets at a new 52-week high. What do we have here? What's left? Let's see. Okay, the bottom here, that's what we have, which is also the bottom there. So that's about right where we are, man. I think this thing's pretty much stretched for now. I think it's a good idea to be out of it today before earnings. And of course, if we hear something spectacular after earnings, we can always get back in. So YEXT has been a great ride. Thank you to Chris Tuttle, bring this to our attention at like, 675 or something. So that's been running really well since then. All right, significant news out of XXII on Friday. And I think there might be an opportunity here this morning. They got 21 million debt financing over here, right? So the PR looks great, right? It looks like, oh, they're avoiding dilution, 21 million financing. And this thing was up like 25, 26% in after hours Friday, but then pulled back when the 8K came out. The 8K had more details, which were not as rosy as this press release. It included the fact that in addition to the 7% interest rate on this $20 million, that lender is getting 5 million warrants, but the warrants are at $1.28. Really good price, right? So, I think that's a good thing. That's a great deal. 7% interest and warrants at $1.28. I think that's great. What's not to like? Well, there was something else in there. There was a refinance of a different debt. It was a $2.5 million debt, which was, I guess, due, which maybe they were delinquent on. And that was extended for another year, but it was extended at a crazy interest rate of like 26%. Not only that, that lender got like 600,000 warrants to purchase stock at like 85 cents. So really interesting dichotomy between an awesome terms for $21 million and terrible terms for $2.5 million. And it's very interesting what's going on here. I think what's going on is, that loan for the $2.5 million had to do with the purchase of GWB Pharma, whereas this $21 million loan is loaned to for inventory build out as they go on their national release of their VLN product. And based on the terms of 7%, I'm thinking this new lender, I'm pretty sure there are two different lenders. The new lender has probably seen the purchase orders. They know those purchase orders are coming. They know this is low risk, and they're giving them a 7% interest rates and agreed to warrants at a 50% premium. Whereas this other deal, maybe a different type of lender, maybe not even interested in their VLN rollout. I don't know. But net, when you compare great terms on 21 million to terrible terms on 2.5 million, I think net, that's really good news. Now, they have earnings later this week on Thursday, and they're also going to be participating at the Roth Investor Conference next week. Okay, and we've interviewed the CEO before, so I've reached out to the CEO again to see if we can schedule an interview. Meanwhile, you see your resistance levels here at 97 cents and then $1. And if it can somehow break out of that, $1.25 to $1.30. This is basically where it reached in after hours Friday. It was $1.27 right at the top of that candle. But really unfortunate to see. Right now, I'm going to talk to some other shareholders today to find out their take on this. I think there was an overall sentiment, a hope that they would not need to raise money at all. And the fact that they raised money, and then especially when you threw some warrants on top of it, even though it's not big dilution, these warrants, I got to tell you, 5.5 million warrants, and compared to the market cap, compared to the outstanding shares of, it was 215 million, is really kind of nothing, especially since most of those warrants are priced at a really good level. But the sentiment's really poor. People have been in this stock for like 10 years, and it's gone nowhere, and people are kind of upset. So I have to dig a little more deeper into the sentiment from the retail perspective and from the big shareholders. And also, we're going to reach out to the CEO to learn more. I have a couple questions. Rollout. Now, DRIO is speaking today at a fireside chat, which will be webcast at 10 a.m. 10:30 a.m. It's going to be 10:30 a.m. There's a link. They have earnings Thursday. I will try to be tuning. I just have to step out for a doctor's appointment. But I'm going to try to tune in live at 10:30 a.m. to see if we can glean any kind of hints of what is to come Thursday. And last week, I already gave my thesis on why I think they could be releasing great news. Maybe it's next week, because they pulled forward their earnings report by 2 weeks. That is extremely rare in microcap world, to pull forward earnings like that. It's unusual behavior for this company. So that makes me think that they're trying to time something, that there's some big news release that they want to, maybe put out there next week. And they, I don't know, they want to get their earnings out of the way first. Something like that, I think, is up. All right. You can see packed in here, crowded 3 moving average areas. We got to get through 525 to really let this thing go free. But they got to deliver the goods first. So we're going to stay tuned to that. Generac, this was a swing idea from last week with a 135 target after that analyst price target increase and a break over the 20 DMA. That's still looking good for this morning. Amly had a little bit of news. Unfortunately, I don't have charts here. It looked good. I'm not an expert in this thing, but American Lithium, the fast track completion of pre-feasibility study. What did catch my eye in this report here is the PEA will be updated to reflect the material increase in lithium carbonate pricing since the original report published in early 2020, which used a 12,000 per ton LCE price. Recent studies and other lithium projects that globally have used up to 24,000 per ton LCE, reflecting material price rises in the commodity over the last 2 years and anticipated long-term pricing. That seems like good news for AMLI. Don't have the chart. I just see the 20 DMA I put in the room is around $3.15. So I would not be surprised if it makes a move towards $3.15, but I'm not an expert in what all of these different studies mean and the impact on this. Is this a surprise to the market? Maybe this PEA being repriced from 12,000 to 24,000 could be a little bit of a positive for the market that wasn't there on Friday. So something to have on your watch list for a potential move to $3.15. AirG has earnings Thursday. They also have Investors Day next week. This has some tailwinds in the EV charging space. We interviewed the CEO. We know about that. I like the fact that they have Investors Day next week, and I'm leaning towards maybe they're going to have a great report and we can bust out of this 200 DMA. But, you've learned, if you've been watching us, the safer bet is always to wait for earnings and then make your big bet if the earnings are great. So stay tuned for AIRG. ANEX, I'm holding on to this. We're waiting for a really good breast cancer news, hopefully mid-April, but they also do have a corporate update coming up later this week, March 9th. So it's possible you can see a run-up into March 9th. It's possible they will tease that positive breast cancer data in a more public way, because we only know about it because of that YouTube. So we'll see. This could have a run ahead of the actual data later this week. That's ANIX. Assure continue to do great. And as Chris Tarver pointed out, these guys do well in a high interest rate environment, hitting new 52-week highs. Russell 2000 inclusion. I don't have any specific targets for this at this point. I'm just holding my IRA. This is a little bit of a hard read for me. I think this is maybe a start of Russell 2000 hype, and you have a 80 RSI. So it seems a little bit stretched technically, but buyers might not have any choice but to buy this because of Russell 2000 inclusion. Plus the price targets, as we know, 15, 17, 20, and 23. Really good reception by the analysts after that conference call. I want to let you know Tesla dropped their prices by $5,000 to $10,000 on the high-end models in the United States last night. You see the stock is below the 20 DMA. I'm not playing this right now. Okay. I think this is kind of rich now. On the price cuts, right? We had a bull thesis, but that was when the stock was like 105. And the rest of the market is like, oh, price cuts are bad for margins. It's bad. It means there's low demand. And we understood the bull thesis of the price cuts. And we said, let's pound it. Let's get in there, right? But now with the stock near the 200 DMA, I'm not sure the stock's going to have the same reaction on price cuts. All right. It's a little bit of a different story. You got to consider valuation, right? The 4-pillar approach. So this one here sitting right below the 20 DMA. I'm just watching it, holding some in my IRA, but don't really have a trade idea for you on that. CrowdStrike, man, kudos to Vegas, who put this on our radar after that big beat by PanW. Had a sympathy move, and now they have earnings tomorrow, and this thing is like breaking out. It's right in this gap, 131. You can see that gap fill there at 136. You can barely see it the first day of the year, basically, at 130 a year ago, about 136, and then you have overhead resistance at 148. But this is a earnings play. Earnings are tomorrow. I think an analyst came out this morning, and here it is. Needham maintained 100. I did not play this. We've been watching it. Congrats to Vegas. She's been on that. But actually, Vegas is going to be with us on Friday. We switched up her schedule. She's going to join us on Fridays because that's the day when we have the least amount of catalysts. And you know what we do here at StoryTrading in the morning is very catalyst driven. Friday morning is a slow catalyst day. So that's a great opportunity to bring Vegas on because she's looking at things with technicals and momentum over multiple days, not necessarily just catalysts. So we're going to bring her on this Friday. Stay tuned for that. She's a big options player, and she does some interesting things there, some interesting ideas we may have for you Friday. All right, that brings us to the end of the show as we continue to monitor Dermtech and Air, Celsius, Twilio, MP, and Wolf, from the holy action last week. We'll take a quick look at our news flow to see if there's anything we missed since about 8:55 a.m. Quickly look at that together. Dick's and Home Depot, Enphase, don't see anything. Nothing. All right. Okay, guys. So that's it. LAZR 1067 above target of 1060, going towards the target of 1140. All right, guys. Good luck. We'll see you later this afternoon at 4 p.m. Take care.